Hey guys, it's Garrett. Thanks for checking out today's video. And so I'm assuming you came here to see what's going on with the thrift scene in Japan. And let me just tell you, you came to the right place. I've been an avid recreational thrifter for well over a decade. And personally, let me just tell you that thrifting in Japan is just on another level. You'll already see that there are just so many different shops, and it can get a little bit overwhelming if you don't know where to start, because if you're looking for a bargain, you know, everyone says the thrift capital is going to be somewhere like a Shimokitazawa or a Koenji. You'll go there and you're going to be disappointed to find that these neighborhoods are actually filled with more antique and vintage shops. They're going to jack up the prices like crazy, versus someone who is looking for something like that, like, you know, looking for particular items, a particular niche, yeah, you probably don't want to go to these huge overwhelming department stores. I'm going to go over in today's video my general advice and breakdown of thrift stores across Japan. Let's get started. So let me just start by saying that, at least in terms of what I can compare from like America, I mean, obviously it's Japan, so everything is just cleaner here. Because hygiene is valued more in general in the culture, like most thrift stores in Japan, they don't accept severely used or damaged clothes. Japanese people in general, they put so much more care into their items and how they use them and what they do with them versus the way that Americans do. You won't find that musty thrift smell in a lot of these stores, which is like a clear indication that the majority of the stock is good stuff, you know? And what's really awesome is a lot of these thrift stores actually have try-on rooms. I remember going to the thrift stores in the States. Either they didn't have a try-on room or it was just wrecked. Over here, you're not allowed to wear shoes into the fitting room. Of course, the prices can vary. It's obviously, like, since it is Japan, overseas items from America or other countries. For an example, last year, I remember Polo or Ralph Lauren, like, they used to jack up the prices of those shirts like crazy. Likewise, North Face all year round. Japanese people love North Face. You might come into a shop and be like, whoa, what the heck? Like, why is this so expensive? It just comes with the supply and demand of the country. You know what I'm saying? General item brands, at least I could speak for men's fashion. You know, you kind of have a little bit of a rank. Maybe your 100 to 500 yen are going to be basically your Japanese domestic fast fashion brands. So things like Uniqlo, things like Muji, GU, the 1,000 to 3,000 yen. These are going to be brands that range with a little bit more quality, trend, season, and in your Nano Universe, your Beams, your United Tokyo, maybe like an APC or a Lacoste. Once you start going higher, like I'd say around the 5,000 yen and higher, that's generally going to be the section of designer clothing, American clothing, international, vintage. You might find also these collector items of like denim brands like from Orslo or Oni Denim, so on and so forth. That can go on. And when you enter the thrift store, although it could be a little overwhelming, like if it's not, again, like a curated shop, you can break down and sort of gauge, okay, this is the area for the 100 to 500 shirts, this is the area for the 1,000 to 3,000 shirts, and this is the area of the little bit higher stuff, and the same goes with the pants. So that should sort of give you an indication of what to sort of expect when you go into the thrift stores and you're sort of searching around. And so now let's start actually talking about the stores themselves. Your low tier, which is your big thrift department stores, you'll find that it's not simply just clothing. It's clothing on one store, to electronics on another, to books, to toys, to couches, so on and so forth. I like to call it basically an organized mess. I kind of consider equivalent to the standards of the States for like a Goodwill or a Salvation Army or a thrift town. And generally you come here if you're looking for a good come up or you're bargain hunting. You can literally spend easily half a day in one of these stores if you go through it thoroughly. And most of these stores in this low tier area are going to be located in the countryside or in the suburbs, or they're gonna be a little bit further away from the train stations. This is like probably the main hub for a lot of communities to just drop off their stuff. The stores that usually reflect this category: Off House, Hard Off, Treasure Factory, the Super Bizarre Book Off, Second Street, Recycle Store version, Wonder Rex. And these are the stores where if you have a car, even better, you can really find some sweet gems in these areas if you're willing to invest some time. For the next tier that I call is basically the mid tier. And again, I kind of compare this to like your Buffalo Exchange, your Crossroads. It's definitely secondhand clothing, but it's not like it's a specialized boutique or anything that is like too expensive. Like you could still probably find some good bargains and deals here. However, you can tell that they try to curate it a little bit more. These ones over here in this mid tier is going to be specifically just clothing. Generally speaking, they're going to be appropriately sold. I rarely find anything where I look in the store and go, oh my gosh, that was so overpriced. Everything seems like it's priced appropriately, personally. And you'll generally find these stores in city neighborhoods, near train stations. These are the stores like Treasure Factory Style, Second Street, Baz Store, and Don Don Down on Wednesdays, just to name a few. And again, these stores have a lot of good stuff, and it's not as overwhelming as the low tier, but if there is a rare gem, probably the employees at the store really know it's a rare gem, and they are going to price it as it should be, versus you might go to the countryside or something and stumble upon something which someone just didn't know how to price it. So keep that in mind. And last is sort of the top tier of the thrift stores, which is basically going to be all of your independent vintage shops and boutique shops. These stores are going to focus more strictly on designer brands or on those rare grailed streetwear pieces. They can get pretty darn expensive for good reason. They're not going to give you a bargain. You're going to know that I'm going to this specific store because I'm looking for army wear from the 1940s of the Italian army, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Even more so, I'd say that like Shimokitazawa and Koenji, although they're known for thrift stores, 70 to 80% of those stores are going to be these boutiques. Kindle, I think there's a Flamingo, Chicago. Generally, these stores, you can find them in like Harajuku, Shimokitazawa, the bougier neighborhoods that are kind of trendy. Just be prepared to cash out a little bit more if you're gonna shop at these. And that's basically my rundown of thrift stores in Japan. I know that especially in the last 5 to 7 years, thrifting in Japan has really began to pop off. Before that, it was actually kind of frowned upon, since most Japanese people didn't like to buy clothes that had been pre-owned or pre-used. Just in general, it comes with the culture out here. It's nice that this sort of sustainable culture is starting to make its way into the Japanese society. Otherwise, that's all I really have to say about today's thrift store breakdown video. If you have any questions about thrifting, please leave me some comments below and I'd be happy to answer anything if you're planning on starting any thrifting conquests. But otherwise, just make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and I'd be happy to make some more thrift videos or even some thrift reviews of my hauls in the future, so keep your eyes peeled for those. All right, happy hunting. Peace.